Humility is not a sign of weakness. Humility is a sign of strength reserved only for those who are brave enough to surrender their ego into the hands of the God within, so that the spirit can reclaim its role as a master and the ego to go back to being the servant of the divine. Why is it that the more we accumulate and the more we accomplish, the less humble we are, and the more we allow our pride to take over us? Is it because we associate humility with poverty and pride with wealth? Well, if that's the case, I want you to know that humility has nothing to do with your material possessions, whether you are rich or poor, but it has everything to do with your connection to truth and the remembrance of your nature and origin. My own pride and the return to humility. You see, I never perceived myself as someone who was proud and boastful. In fact, I always thought of myself as someone who was quite humble. But through the many intense and painful experiences life sent my way throughout the years, I realized that there was a lot of darkness, pride, and vanity in me, and that all of that pride was causing me to distance myself from the God within me and from the world around me. I went through my own dark night of the soul, and while I was there, I was able to see and feel how painful it is for us to cling onto pride by putting humility aside and by thinking that we are more special and more valuable than our fellow human beings. As Ernest Hemingway said it so beautifully, quote, "There is nothing noble in being superior to your fellow men. True nobility is being superior to your former self." Unquote. Pride is fear, and fear divides. Humility is love, and love unites. This world we live in has brainwashed us into thinking that instead of loving and supporting one another, we have to compete and defeat all those who might get in the way of us being, doing, and having whatever it is that we want to achieve. But I wonder if you ever stop to think whether that is a healthy way of living your life. I wonder if you ever stop to think whether it's worth spending so much time and energy trying to show to the whole world how special you are and that you are in fact worthy of their validation and approval. Quote, "He who stands on tiptoe doesn't stand firm. He who rushes ahead doesn't go far. He who tries to shine dims his own light. He who defines himself can't know who he really is." Unquote. Lao Tzu. We don't seem to understand how much we are hurting ourselves and everyone around us by clinging on to pride, and how much we are distancing ourselves from our truth and divine essence by trying to prove our specialness and by trying to be better than those around us. C.S. Lewis, the author of Narnia, was right when he said that, quote, "Pride is spiritual cancer. It eats up the very possibility of love, contentment, or even common sense." Unquote. Pride separates us from one another. It causes us to think we are better than our brothers and our sisters, and when that happens, we look down on people, failing to realize that what we do to one human being, we do to all humanity, and that by looking down on others, others will eventually look down on us. That's how we end up feeling all alone and separated, not only from the world around us, but also from the divine within us. Quote, "As long as you are proud, you cannot know God. A proud man is always looking down on things and people. And of course, as long as you are looking down, you cannot see something that is above you." Unquote. C.S. Lewis. The power of humility. In the Tao Te Ching, this wise book that was written more than 2,500 years ago, Lao Tzu talks about the power of humility in a way only he knew how. Quote, "All streams flow to the sea because it is lower than they are. Humility gives it its power. If you want to govern the people, you must place yourself below them. If you want to lead the people, you must learn to follow them." Unquote. It is humility that gives us power, humility, not pride, and those who live in truth, aligned with their core, and connected to the God within them, know this to be true. The rest just assume that humility is for the weak and the poor. Humility is part of our nature, and it can help us return to the source of all things by reminding us of our beauty, purity, and perfection, and by helping us reconnect with the truth of who we are, our divine nature and our holy origin, and the truth of who everyone else is. Humility, just like water, is life and is power, and those who become one with humility become one with life and one with divine power. P.S. As a wise person once said to me, words don't teach, experiences do. And I could write an entire book about the power of humility, and you could read it 1,000 times. But if you don't become one with humility, and if you don't embrace and allow it to become part of you, you will never experience its beauty and its power. Thank you for watching. If this video spoke to you, feel free to like, subscribe, and leave your sweet comment in the comment section down below.